Welcome.
Welcome to the new normal. Exploring infinite possibilities. I'm Renata.
And I'm William, and as you explore, remember, you don't have to explore everything outside. Do some self-exploration.
Self-exploration, and the topic today is the benefits of emotional freedom.
Freedom beyond anything any of us have ever considered.
And this rest stop that we find ourselves in, right now, I've been using it as a perfect opportunity to stop and then do a deeper dive inside. What about you?
Okay, well, the rest stop. I love that concept. I do a lot of teaching, particularly in Asia, about building images that convey what you're trying to say. And when you say a rest stop, one of the images is a beautiful bed with dogs and cats and a monkey, and the bed's not neat, it's all ruffled up and pillows thrown over. And to me, that's equal to rest.
I could see that, but I didn't see the peanuts for the monkey, but I did see the other stuff you're talking about. In my mind's eye, right? I was following you.
Yeah, and you didn't see the
peanuts for the monkey.
Oh!
That was a funny.
Oh, I didn't get it.
As so often, yeah.
And that's for all of you. What's funny to one might not be funny to you. Because whether we like it or not, we are intellectually on different levels. No matter how much education you have, that's not the issue.
And intellect is highly overrated.
Oh, tell me about it.
We do have the potential right now to really harness the intuition, and that can only be accessed on the inside.
Only through the inside, to the inside of your soul.
Yeah.
And most people don't understand that the soul is different than the personality.
Okay, I was going to do a silly, really? But I didn't understand that a long time ago either, so it's all good.
And it's easy to get caught in that.
In our culture, for sure.
Oh, sure.
In our world.
In our world, and particularly worlds that are designed around some man-made religion. Because none of the religions, except possibly some of the ancient people, Aboriginal, etc., those probably are created by the God-goddess concept. But the rest of the religions can be traced to specific years of when they developed, when they were created, and who was the author.
Right, because everybody had liberal license or, to do that back in the day. I mean, they didn't have internet, there weren't TVs. There wasn't a lot. There was just the stories and the communication, the sharing, and the magical manifestation of your intentions. I've been reading that Mutant Ninjas Down Under again.
Oh, yes.
I probably said that title backwards. But when I
knew what she was talking about.
Yeah, and a lot of you probably do. And when I first read that many, many years ago, I was like, wow, that's fascinating. Now on the other side of my journey reading that, I'm like, well, of course she would interpret that. Of course, I'm on a different space. So it seems a little bit trite, but it was a great reminder, of how much I've grown.
And how much the evolution for all of you, the evolution is not determined by how much you can quote an author, how much you can remember a list of your professors. It's important that you look at what's really motivating you inside.
And if you don't...
And that's freedom.
And that's freedom. And if you just don't ask those questions of yourself, then you end up living somebody else's life. And that could be really frustrating to someone like me.
And I'm not judging any of you when I say this, but most of you, myself included, are living other people's lives. I'm living the lives of the church. I'm living the lives of ministers I've known, priests. There's all kinds of beings that make up our personality. Now you got to find out who you are.
You got to find out who you are. And right now, because we have all this mutable energy happening, today is what, that like huge, we got a lunar eclipse. And then,
Yes.
you know, in a few more weeks, we've got like a solar eclipse.
Yes,
and
yes.
they're total lunar and or solar eclipse. So they're like, a lot of energy is causing us to, you know, question beliefs, you know, for sure.
And with an eclipse, people say, well, I didn't see it, so it has nothing to do with me. That's not true, gang.
Yeah, I mean, there's several things that are imbued in your DNA, you know, astrology, numerology, you know, your ancestry, those kinds of things. And so you just learn to work with them, utilize them, make them useful tools to realign with the true you.
The true you. And that's why I'm encouraging all of you. Keep your jobs, keep your families, but add to it, instead
to
of
it.
sitting in front of the TV, add to it participating in things that just make you feel tickly inside.
Tickly inside. And some of the things I have been doing, because I tend to be a loner kind of person, I'm pretty out, but then on my personal time, I'm kind of in.
Okay.
And that doesn't always work in terms of making, you know, like new girlfriends and friends. So I've been making a point of getting out of my, you know, where I go, and like, you know, calling people or, you know, texting, and then being really clear about, well, I'm reaching out because I'm a little bit lonely. I miss seeing you, or I miss having conversations. I miss hugs. So I've been calling a few of my close girlfriends and making it clear that you are a part of my new now family. How many of you are experiencing new now family? Nothing to do with your family of origin. You know, not your biological family. Most of my biological family is on the other side, except for my sister Charlotte. So I'm making new family now.
And most of my family, I don't even want to remember them.
And you know, that's
And everyone's different.
embracing the traps that keep you stuck is how I actually see that.
And what Renata just said is important to all of you. The traps that are set up by our structured community saying, family, you have to protect them. Family, you have to associate with them. Family, you have to listen to the elder. The truth is, the only person you have to listen to is yourself. What motivates you? What interests you? And just because the priest or the rabbi says you shouldn't do that, if you feel it and it's there, do it.
And trust that once you are aligned with you and the things that feel good for you, other people will be around you and they'll probably feel good for them too.
Sure.
Because, you know, we're like little pig pens giving off that energy. Now we're just saying, you know, we want you to have a conscious intention to create, because that's what's going on, whether you are aware of it or not. That's what's happening.
My grandmother taught me as a child. I was once a child, by the way. And she would tell us, don't make a decision because you've tried something once. If you want to experience and make a clear self-decision, experience it 3 times. And then you'll know what really works for you.
That feels so much like, don't be so hard on yourself.
Exactly.
You know,
that's exactly what it was.
And make yourself be
Emotional freedom.
emotional freedom. Give yourself an opportunity to be successful by allowing yourself to have many successes until you see, oh, I kind of like this success. I'm going to stay with this one.
Exactly.
Because you don't ever win if you don't ever get in the game. You know, that's kind of a cliche-est thing to say, but it's true.
And getting in the game doesn't mean getting in her game, his game.
Oh.
It is, what is your game in this life?
That's a high five.
What is your...
That's a high five.
Oh, that's
Your
close to
game.
high
I know. I know it's a high five. Just touch that arm. You're good.
The
It's true.
important thing is hug yourself, love yourself, appreciate yourself, You don't even have to like yourself.
Value
but
yourself.
Appreciate yourself.
Value yourself.
Exactly.
Value the good, bad, and the ugly. So what, you're not having a good day? Who says you're supposed to have a good day? What does that mean?
And when you're not having a good day, enjoy it.
Enjoy having not a good day.
Yes.
There's something about that. Mm-hmm. Because it really, for me, it's like a fast forward, like rewind the tape, reboot. That's what it does. It reboots you. Gives you a chance to realign.
I had a conversation with one of the few family members that I stay in touch with just a couple days ago, and he said, can you ever forgive me for how I participated in blank, 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 blank? I said, well, first of all, I don't even remember that. That happened in another lifetime. Oh. I said, if you think I should forgive you, you better forgive yourself for even thinking I would have limited my love and respect for you. So you have to be honest with self.
Yeah, you do. And that's not
what happened
easy.
23 years ago, 43 years ago, it's not happening today.
No.
I started the story of when I was working in Cambodia, and I said to the people, how come you're dancing and singing and doing all your ceremonies?
Yeah.
Boy, the massacre is over, but you survived it. Most of your family didn't. How come you're so happy? They said, it's not happening today.
That is like that's some like solid wisdom.
Big.
George used to always say to me when I get in my little pissy mode about things, he'd say, don't focus on what you can't do, honey. Just focus on what you can. Like, how deep is that?
Oh, yeah, because all of you, there's nothing you can't do. And in your own lives, when things got heavy, and they did, or they will, you can deal with it. It might not be the way society taught, but you'll deal with it creatively if you just love yourself.
True. I mean, there's just so much wisdom and depth in just allowing yourself to embrace and feel the things that come up for you. You don't have to act on the things that come up for you, but to feel them is to give them a chance to express. When I say them, just like you were saying, it's not like we're, with the multiple personality kind of thing and we're schizoid. Although, sometimes we do teeter on that.
Oh.
Because we repress so
I don't
much.
cheater on it. I jump in at times.
Deep in, woo! Because
yes.
we've been taught, there's that belief system that, like you said, honor your elders and, do all that stuff. I forgot what the comment was, but I'm just acknowledging the power of what you just said, which is love yourself and then love what comes up.
And if you don't, I was in the hospital for a little over a year. And I was loving it. I was enjoying it and having a good time. And then one day I realized, I'm not loving this anymore. So I left.
I'm not loving this
They
anymore.
didn't discharge me. I just took what I could carry and I left.
And that segues perfectly into the emotional freedom now that you have to take for yourself.
Yes.
And I use the word take because you do have to just go like, oh,
Exactly.
done with that. I'm going to take two. I'm going to, new curtain. Old story's done, new storyline. And that is so important. We are going to find a bazillion ways to say, create a new life story for yourself.
Yes, and you don't have to design according to what you were taught. What has worked in your life so far. Now, what would you like to experience? What would you enjoy experience? And the only person that can answer that is you, not your wife, not your boyfriend or girlfriend. It doesn't matter what they would be happy with. If you can happy yourself, other people are going to be happy with you.
Ooh, that could be a line in Pharrell's song. Because I'm happy yourself.
Yes.
That could be a song, happy yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, cut to the chase.
And if you want love, I've had many clients say to me, what can I do to get someone to love me? I said, well, the first step, you and I both know you're not going to take it. You go, what do you mean? And I go, love yourself. Until you love yourself, no one's going to love you. This was after 10 divorces.
Self-love is the jewel of the heart, isn't it?
And she got it after 10 husbands.
Did she?
Now she's with husband 11, and they've been together almost 20 years.
And who is it that says that, after the 8th, 9th, 10th time that you're a failure? I see those as many successes.
Leading to pure success.
Uh-huh. And so there she just totally ignored ill-given advice. And there's a lot of ill-given advice out there, and there's a lot of bad story writing out there, and there's a lot of bad scripts. I was saying to you in the car, it's like people just need to fire the whole cast.
Oh, yeah.
Fire the whole friggin' cast and hire your own, right?
Or be your own.
Or be your own, Like, write your own play. I'm just so serious about that.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter if you're married, if you're living with someone, as long as you tell them. This is what I'm doing. I'm recreating my world, because that's what we all have to do. Tell them. Tell anybody you're participating with. Don't drop it on them by their experiencing you. Tell them, because they're seeing you from their perspective.
And that's the only place they can see. You can say
Yep.
walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, but if you wear a 6 and they wear an 11, it's not going to be a comfortable journey. So you're going to take those shoes off immediately, I had an interesting sort of insight this week working with myself and looking at shadow side and all that. When I get pissy, I want to be acknowledged that I'm pissy, mostly by the person I'm around the most, is my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I still attempt to push his buttons, and they don't do anything anymore.
Oh, gee, I've never noticed that.
And I caught myself doing that, and I was in a conundrum because that's called playing victim. And I was teetering right on just embracing that victim role again because it's easy. And then I projected it onto something else, like, well, this story out here is messed up at the mass. And that felt a little bit better because I could be victim-y about that one. But in my personal relationship with myself and my husband, I knew that was the wrong road to take. So I had to just be silent and keep talking to myself. Like, okay, well, you're good. You don't have to be super pleasant. I mean, you're fine. You can be ugly with George if you want. I think you probably might want to talk to him a little bit. Mm-hmm. And because he does respect you and you guys do have a good communication, why don't you just own that you're pissy, it's uncomfortable, all this transitionary stuff, and you're used to being on top of it, Renata, and you feel like underneath all this shit right now. Why don't you just allow yourself to be under the shit and let it pass?
It's important to realize Renata and George have been together over 30 years, and they're very different people, and they respect each other because they're different.
You can't have love if you don't have respect. And that word shit on air, I'm going to say it again because you made me use silence, and shit is a good word, because if you do not poop out your poop, which is called shit, in the toilet, you don't want to have it all on you. You want to, let it go. So that's an appropriate word. That's how I felt.
And you see, I'm 203 years older than Renata. When I was doing radio, I did a show out of Denver, Colorado, 5 days a week.
You shared that a couple times. You got guests all the time. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. And if we or a guest used anything that at that time was considered vulgar, we were taken off the air. They just shut us out. And so I reacted.
You did. I got you.
From a history without recognizing we're developing a new history.
And that's legitimate. And so I'm saying that you have to honor all of that at the same time. And so knowing you enough, it's like, well, you can say that again. It's fine.
And you know what Renata just did? This is the first time that I can remember when she didn't think I was attacking her.
Yeah. No, because it's
Thank you.
Yeah, because you really weren't. It was just like, I get you. And I mean, speaking about roles, that's what we're talking about, emotional freedom. Mm-hmm, and so much of the emotional freedom that we block, I believe, my own belief, is that we project our own insecurities, our own lack of self-love, all of our own poop. We project it out into other people and try to make, so we can play victim.
Yes.
And that's an interesting dynamic to maintain in your life. It's like, oh, it's not about me at all. They did it. I'm feeling this way because... And I just check myself regularly. Do you think, Renata, your happiness has anything to do with anything out there? If you do, step back, because it doesn't. It's not about having enough money. The abundance is on the inside, right, William? The abundance
Yes.
on the inside. It's not about having enough health, because that's on the inside too.
And that's why I've been saying many times here on the show, be nice to your coworkers.
Yes.
Not just the ones with the desk next to you. Speak to them. Acknowledge them. Maybe bring them a flower. Do things that allow people to see that inside, the real you is kind, loving, good. And then your business world will expand and you'll be more successful than you've ever been. Because people will adore you.
Make the effort.
Yes, because they're not respecting just because you make a lot of money. In fact, many
Yeah.
people resent you because of it. So if you are acknowledging them and give Christmas bonuses, birthday bonuses. I don't follow birthdays, but many of you do in our country, so whatever. And do little things that make people see that it's a joy working for you. They're going to have to work anyways. Better work with you. And just by being nice to them, they will love themselves and love you more, and you'll fall in love with yourself.
And it spreads just like
Oh,
that.
yes.
Now, the other side of that, for a lot of us that are empathic, right, and we attempt to be into other people's lives because we think we want to make it better for them, but actually we're minding somebody else's business because we don't want to mind our own gold. That's really what that's about.
And that's what's, I think, a problem with many empathetic people,
Yeah.
psychic people, healers. They want to fix what's out there. You can give them love, give them energy, give them encouragement. If they don't fix themselves, that's not your problem.
And sometimes a lot of us as counselors and that are just a good listening ear
Oh, good statement.
and a great mirror to reflect back the truth. And the truth is not like a place you go, it is a frequency. Just like this new earth is not a place that you travel to physically, energetically, it's a frequency. It's a state of beingness.
And that's what we're doing at our little gathering tomorrow night
Yeah.
at the
Cochina Mexican
Cochina,
restaurant.
is sharing with people, letting people see that it's not about gender, it's not about age, it's about loving and allowing everyone to interact.
Interaction is the deal. We've had, a year and some extra time of like being locked down, right? And not interacting. And that's just not, biologically healthy, and it's not
Oh, yes.
humanly
True,
healthy.
true.
And so if you still believe that, then, write that story too. You can't have any more ink and no more paper. But if you don't, get a new pad and start a new story. Start a new script for yourself, for the new life you're creating on this new earth.
And like some of you don't want to come and visit at the Cochina, that's fine. But go out and visit with people in your neighborhood, in your building. Get involved with more people. The interaction is vital as you create your new reality.
The interaction is important because you are the present that is being unwrapped when you're in the
Yes.
presence of people. It's your light, it's your brightness, it's the smile on your lips, it's the brightness in your eyes. You all know what I'm talking about. It's the receptivity that happens when humans, communicate. It's magical. We had a 16 to 20 house garage sale in our neighborhood.
Oh, you told me, yes.
And that was cool, and I got this cute dress from garage sale, $5. Looks good on me too.
Yeah. And doing collectives like the collective yard sale. Remember when I was a kid, garage sales were never even heard of yet.
I know.
And then it was one family did a sale. And then pretty soon it evolved to people saying, well, I've got stuff, can I throw it in with yours? And then pretty soon it spread. That's what we're doing. That's what all of you are doing. Find ways to share your love, share your power, and it's going to return to you in countless ways.
So yeah, that example of the garage sale, I remember the rummage sales.
Oh,
and
yes.
like a girlfriend used to go to Lakeside, you know. So they had the big Lakeside rummage sale. For those of you who know Lakeside, it's kind of a wealthy community and a school, anyhow. So there were like riches when you go to that. You'd find all kinds of stuff at that rummage sale.
Mm-hmm.
So like, get into the rummage sale of life.
Exactly.
You find some good bargains. You know, some great stuff that you didn't even know you needed, right? And it's all for free. The rummage sale of life.
Yes, yes.
Just throw in some good stuff, and you can take some good stuff back out.
And so it's a spiritual bartering.
Ooh, spiritual bartering. We got some. This is going to be in our dictionary.
Okay.
Spiritual bartering. I like that one.
We both quickly
I have to write that down.
Renata and I are working on
We really are writing it down.
a dictionary of terminology in the creating of the new reality.
Right, and thoughts are things. On the Facebook page, I posted a 98 years young woman that is one of the oldest yoga teachers on record. And she was on one of the little talk shows. And like she did the handstand, not the handstand, little pose. And I'm like, she's 98. Anybody watching this be like, really? And she said, you know, I don't worry about my age. I know what's going on. I don't put energy into that. I'm still here. I'll be here as long as I need to be here.
Interruption. I forget the word.
Oh, spiritual bartering.
Thank you.
See, that's cool. And, you know, we encourage you in that emotional freedom, too. You've heard about the emotional freedom tapping to release things out of your,
Yes.
you know, your body. That's a great one. But just being present with yourself and noticing the old dialogue, how it's replaced with the new dialogue as things come across your head, how you talk to yourself differently, that's emotional freedom. You know, when you allow yourself to not get pissed off, or you allow yourself to get pissed off and go, oh, well, all right, that's just all about you, isn't it? Yeah, you think you can let that go?
That reminds me, I was having a conversation on meat with my friend Banana in Japan. And she said, some people told me about, and she did 3 letters in E something something. And she said it's supposed to be tapping. Well, I tap when I'm knocking on a door. And no one explained it to her.
The EFT?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
And
like
so instead of using letters that we know in English, if you're communicating with other people, express it. Tell them this is tapping, and tapping is reversing or realigning your structure physically, mentally, emotionally, freedom, and spiritually.
You said all 3 of those. The talk show host with this 98-year young woman said, well, share your secret to longevity of a balanced body, mind, and spirit. Share your secret, body, mind, and spirit. And I'm like, balanced body, mind, and spirit. You just answered your own question. It's like the host was looking for, so what's the magic bullet for balanced body, mind, and spirit?
But it's all outside. Now we take it inside.
Now we take it inside, rewrap it.
Like I said, when I was in hospital, and when I got finally bored with it, I just picked up my toys and left, and designed a new lifestyle.
When things no longer serve you, they fall away. When you come from the perspective of mastery, when you come from the perspective of your soul, then you're no longer a victim, and the situations that are the greatest lessons for you, you embrace them like, oh, you mean it's not about fault, because that's the victim thing. It's about learning and evolution.
Evolving. Because let's face it, the only thing that we can be sure is going to happen in our life is that someday we're going to die.
And
Everything else is just in the whims of the universe, of the gods.
It's true. So we're so encouraging you on this whole resting platform we find ourselves on this last year or so. Write a new story. If you don't align with the story that's out there, this little 2% narrative that's being rolled over the whole country, if that feels like rotten snake eye to you, if it kind of stinks a little bit, or if it's just not where you want to play any longer, take your toys and go play someplace else. Find a new playfield.
Right.
Go back to kindergarten. That's a good thing. Be like that of a child.
When I think in terms of world peace, I look at the planet Earth with all its islands and continents and oceans, and I see bridges between all of the countries, and people and animals roaming back and forth without any restriction. And that will create peace. And it might not be realistic at this point, but if you all start visualizing a world where fighting just doesn't exist. There'll always be some disagreement, of course, but it won't be punishable in ways that are punishing our society. We throw so many people in prison that don't even deserve to be in prison.
That actually some of the people that have instituted the prisons deserve to be in their own prisons. You know, that really is the deal.
So find the things that you can do to create a world where your kids, your grandkids, and in my case, my great-grandkids, have a right to grow without fear.
So here's a little middle thought that it feels like important to say. Imagine that, I hear you saying that, and whenever you're starting to create something, which is just you moving and breathing, you're creating, right?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the impact you'll have, or the impact you want to make. Stop and really bring that up in your mind's eye. Actually,
Yes.
physically bring that up. Create that energy around you. It's as tangible as this is.
Now, I mentioned the world in my vision. It's not about writing a script or a story just with words. Write this with images, colors, sounds. It doesn't have to be realistic. I do a workshop where people can create things that they want in the future with cartoons.
I love that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's energy. Everything is energy. It's time to really embrace. You've got power, gang. Oh,
It's a little break time.
okay.
What does it say?
LOVE. Living only valuable experiences.
Yeah,
Here's the card,
it's the love.
written on the back.
Yeah.
The acronym, the love.
And then Max pulled that for us. We always like to show we're all connected if we choose to be. If you choose to look at a bigger lens.
Okay, I have to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
We're all connected, even if we don't choose to be.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
True. And so, you know, that conscious connection is what I'm encouraging people to do. Like, well, okay.
I went for a walk a couple days ago, and it was like walking through mud. Now, my Canes and William walking through mud. So I chose not to walk. I went back to my apartment.
I had that experience too. And maybe a lot of our viewers out there are feeling a little heavy. And I'm just saying it feels like there's so much being dumped and released that, you know, it's just important to kind of keep yourself present with you and then kind of wade through it. And if it doesn't feel comfortable to be out too much, then don't.
Right, because if you get caught in it, you're just adding to the negativity.
It's like a poop storm.
Yes.
And there's a lot of that poop storm going on out there.
Oh,
There's
yes,
that
yes,
word
yes,
again.
yes, yes.
Woo, it's deep. And the higher side of me is like, okay, Renata, well, if you say something because it's real tempting, is that going to make it any different for you or them? I'm like, oh, God, it's not. So be quiet. Wow. That's an unusual stance for me to take, is to be quiet. But that's the most powerful.
So if you have to say something, take responsibility for the fact that you've made a statement. Don't expect people will listen. Don't expect that people will understand. And often people will say, well, you spoke at an inappropriate time, but inappropriate to them, not inappropriate to you.
And as everybody starts to own their ability to realign in a way that feels good to them,
Oh, good.
that will trickle down to lots of systems just changing and transforming.
Yep.
You'll no longer get fired from a job because you tell your boss, you know what, you just aren't doing your job. Let me add some suggestions to the corporation. I think I got a handle on it. I know the people. And they look at you and go, okay, you got a week, go for it.
Yeah.
You know, what about that one? It's like, how is it that we can live on a planet and we don't get to participate in the evolution of it?
Participate, thank you.
Yeah, and that's what we need to be doing is participate.
Yes.
Don't be made afraid of what's happening, because that's what's happening now. Is just lots of fear. Follow the fear. You follow the fear, you get more fear.
And I was just casually visiting with a couple yesterday, and they reacted to me out of fear. And so I could observe it and know they're hurting themselves. They're not hurting me. Even though we're attacking me verbally, they were hurting themselves. So when you criticize others, when you get caught up in superiority of any kind, you're hurting yourself.
I was actually really grateful for that particular lesson that came to me many years ago, studying like the Course in Miracles about ego. You know, like, oh, really? Ego? Well, that's what's always talking. Yeah. Until you shift that. And you don't get rid of ego, though. That's like, oh, you're egoless? No. You learn to embrace that, and it becomes the whole picture, you know? So
Because
that's
we all have an ego.
Healthy boundaries are good.
Boundaries.
It's not like a border another town either. Healthy boundaries for yourself. And I must say a lot of people are not in control of their vibration, which means they're not in control of the boundaries that they would like to be respected by and valued by, because they don't respect or value themselves.
And if you want respect, tell people what your boundaries are.
Oh.
If you're getting married, or if you're going to live with someone, tell them what your boundaries are.
Right, it's almost like expecting people to read your mind is, you know, at best, foolhardy. And so don't feel like you're trying to save somebody from themselves or save them from something by I don't want to hurt their feelings. Like, that feels so lame.
It is.
You don't even have the power to hurt their feelings. If they decide they want to have their feelings hurt by the words that you lashed upon them, let them own that. And
I've been known to say to people when they say, well, you hurt my feelings. I said, no. I said something that allowed you to hurt your own feelings.
Now, what are you going to do with that?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, back in the day, they called that tough love.
Yes.
Well, actually, in this day, it's actually called love. Like, why would you want to lead somebody on? You know, there's something about being tactful, though, and sometimes I'm not as tactful, you know.
Well, and I'm accused many times. Recently, I said something to another person, and a person with us said that was inappropriate. That was not something you should have said. But it was something that I needed to say, and the other person needed to hear, and it was the appropriate time, or my spirit teachers would have shut my mouth.
Shut my mouth. See, and it's like, it's okay to come back and say, I know that was a little tough. You can say, I'm sorry if you want to. You don't have to. Even I'm sorry is kind of lame. But you can claim certain levels of communication. You can come back. You don't have to just leave it there if it feels kind of stinky. You can clean it up.
But with what my example was, it was appropriate, it was necessary, and if others judged it, that was their problem, not mine.
It's true. But you can feel all that energy, and sometimes if you just kind of like be with it and just let it flow out, it does.
Let it flow.
You don't have to make a big deal out of it. Yeah, this too shall pass. That's a pretty good one, isn't it?
Oh yeah, because living in the moment, remember, this is an important part of loving yourself and getting ready for your next days to come. There is no time. There is no space. Time, as you and I know it, only exists on planet Earth. It's
Yeah.
man-made. It has nothing to do with spiritual reality.
No, because we're in a quantum wave from particle to wave, and every
you.
time you think, you shift and it goes to a wave, and a wave is mutable. We got a lot of mutable energy on our planet now, and we'll have it for a little while here. So use that potential creative flow that's coming in to allow you to, drop some of those things that are so heavy, that have been heavy in your life, that have kept you stuck.
And if you are not happy with your work, example, you don't need anyone's permission to leave it. And if you leave a job just because it's a source of income, you're already limiting yourself. There is a job for everybody. There is work for everybody. And so when you leave, trust. You're talented, you're intelligent, you're competent. There'll always be a new door. I have been fired. I was fired 3 times when I was teaching in university. And I even thanked the head of the department at one university and said, thank you for letting me go, because now I can do something that's for me, that's good for me.
I was fired many times for not being able to punch in right on time at 9 o'clock when I worked for, I'm like, but I was just like 5 minutes late, but you got to be here at 9, And so I think to this very day, part of me where I've got, that ish thing going on with time is like I'm kind of sticking my finger at people like, I'm doing my own life, I'm happy, I'm creating my own space, creating my own destiny. I didn't need your time clock, but, I didn't know that till I got fired a bunch of times.
Yeah, and if people are ish-timing, I would support Renata in doing that. But if she says to me, this has not happened, if she would say to me, I will see you at 12:12, I'll wait 15 minutes. But 16, I'm out of there.
True story. It's like
So everybody creates their personal history, story, evolution.
And if I don't stay present with myself, sometimes I can go to default mode, and all of a sudden I'm just late. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and not
yes,
preparing
yes,
enough
yes.
time to be on time. Like, well, you can be on time for stuff when you need to be on time for stuff.
And she is.
You can totally do that. It's just not your preference. You like to have, lots of space. But when you need to show up at you can. This show it shows at 2. It's not at 2:15 or 2:30. So
And also remember, if you are late, is it possible that it's because something needed to see or feel your energy?
There's that too.
And I tell people, if you take the exact same route to work every day, take a different route at times. Because someone, a dog, a cat, a person, an ET, they need to feel and sense your energy. And then, because there is no true time, you'll still go to your work on time.
See, there is that energy of everything being connected and all-encompassing.
All-encompassing.
If you allow that
Perfect,
to happen. And for me, just having that little thought in my head, like when you're running a little bit late, like, you're fine. Everybody knows how you are. You're
Yep,
good.
yep.
Don't trip. It's going to work out fine. Don't be trying to run the traffic lights and then you get a ticket and make it even worse. Next time, you just give yourself a little more time, make it da-da-da instead of da-da-da. You're okay. And then it just shifts.
I have a friend, still a friend, and her attitude is, there's one way to go from point A to point B that is faster than any other way. And so she'll never take a different route. And if her car breaks down, if she breaks down, which I think is happening, well anyways, and she won't know how to help herself. She doesn't know. There is no right way. So go different ways, go different ways. Share your light, share your love. Let that light in here blossom out. There might be a lonely person, and they might not even speak to you or you to them, but you've just shared your light with them.
And the animals especially are needing that. I'm too
Oh,
busy.
yes,
They
yes,
stick their
yes.
little head out the car when I'm driving, like, hey, honey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Or going to shop owners. There was a shop that we went to called Dragonfly yesterday down in the Opera Alley area. Really cute little store, but the guy had, Eric had 2 little cute dogs, and he was holding them when we came in because they were trying to, like, get out of the little cage thing. So I said, well, which one's the friendliest? It was the youngest one, so I put my hand out. But, you could feel the embrace from the animals, most definitely, and that's out there everywhere. People need to feel felt.
And it's all about, if you are safe with yourself, then the animals will be safe with you. I've seen wild animals rescue another animal or a human being because they could feel the energy. On YouTube recently, there was a little girl under 5 years of age, lost in the forest. No one could find her. But pretty soon, a wolf came holding the back of her shirt and led her and dropped her with people and took off.
Because the little girl didn't know about fear.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, okay,
Oh,
hey,
hey,
thank
this
you.
big old thing
I'm lost. I
is
know.
going to help me.
Yeah, so it's like when we, I don't have anything to say about that one. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. And I think a lot of that, I get a lot of that happens like all the time and we kind of miss it.
We miss it.
So when
Ignore
you
it.
slow down, you can start to see how magical you really are by paying attention to your intentions to create. And you see what kind of cool things you create.
Yes.
Notice how the energy shifts when you go into a store. Nobody there. You're walking around for a while. All of a sudden, the store is busy, and there's people in the line behind you at the gas station. That kind of thing. Anybody noticing that? They're following your light.
Light attracts light.
Light begets more light. That's really what's happening. So the story out here now is pretty fearful. So just based on that paradigm, light begets more light.
Yep,
Love
yep.
begets more love. Fear begets more fear. Where do you think you would want to be? This is a real question that you need to ask yourself continually from now on. Where do you want to play in? Light, more light. Love, more love. Fear, more fear. 1, 2, 3. Where do you want to be?
An example, I have an associate who lives with fear and recently said, and he said very specifically, my car is always breaking down. I've just spent a lot of money fixing it up. It's going to
Darn.
break down again. And then when it broke down again, he said, see, I'm a psychic. I knew it was going to happen.
What
Sure,
about
because he created it.
life is a self-fulfilling prophecy? Check that one.
Yep.
I mean, that's so true. We can go home now.
Okay.
Oh, we should do, though, our little announcement for our event, which is tomorrow, or the gathering tomorrow.
Do it.
Cocina Mexicana Restaurant, 6 to 8 p.m. Tomorrow's Thursday. There's no fee, but come a little hungry so you can eat some snacks and have a drink or something. They have good food. The owners are wonderful people. They allowed us to come in and do our thing when there was a little bit of a restriction. They were like playing in the love field, like, no, you're good. We'll be fine. So I appreciated that energy that they allowed us to walk into. And these are those kind of collaborative events that make things win-win.
And if you don't want to come to Kachina, go someplace, do something. Be involved with life.
Honor that this is Memorial Day. So Memorial Day is honoring the deaf, and we have all certainly gone through a huge death. I hope we have buried it and then put some more dirt over it and then pushed it down, bulldozed over it and paved over it and built a garden.
And then there'll be an earthquake and it'll go poof.
I mean, you gotta plow it under with each thought. I mean, that's really the thing. It's like just when stuff comes, it doesn't feel harmonious. You know, William's favorite is IDM. I borrowed that. It don't matter, IDM. Just let it go. And like, thank you for reminding me. Okay, but I'm going over here now. I'm going to be here now. I'm doing this now.
And if you want to stay confined, isolated, that's your choice. It's
Yes,
all
it is.
right. It is not that we are judging you if you stay isolated. It's a choice.
Absolutely. The little trigger for me, and I'm worked through this pretty good, is now that the mask mandate is kind of done because they're really encouraging people to get the vaccine. I'm like, oh, so people say to me, well, I'm fully vaccinated. I have to do my best just to not, Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not a discussion
I just
point.
heard that tourism is welcome in Japan starting May 1st. I mean, June 1st.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, June 1st.
And the only problem with that is the airlines that I use and that are available, you have to have proof of vaccination.
Okay, so this is what we're talking about, the creation thing. There's that small percentage that's got that story, and they're dedicated to that particular being of service that way on this planet to get us all to wake up. So they're doing their job. You don't have to buy that story. You don't have to perpetrate that story. It's out there, but the way it's going to be magnetized and made bigger is if you go, oh no, they're going to ask for, you aren't there yet. It's not happened to you yet. You know what? So it's not a real deal yet. But if we keep focusing on it, it will be a thing.
This is here now. Because the airline that I prefer to use from past history, they said that I must, to honor the reservation that was made for me, I have to show that I've been vaccinated with documentation. And so it isn't, because I had the opportunity to go for the month of August.
And what I'm saying is that story is going to change drastically as we embrace.
Oh, yes,
the new-
yes, yes.
So I'm not saying that some places aren't attempting to do that.
Attempting.
But it's like if you feel like you want to really go with that and encourage the creation of that, that's okay. But I'm also suggesting that we can discourage the creation of that by going, nah.
But who's listening when I say nah?
Whoever you're talking to. And it's I believe it trickles all the way down. I really do. I'm intending to see this planet shift in a direction that there's more freedom, not less freedom. And I checked myself. We're going to Vegas at the end of, in about a few weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And that, that could be a closer reality for me having to, show proof of, because all the airlines are attempting to do this. And many legal people are attempting to say and saying in a really forceful way, no, this is an emergency use authorization, clinical trial, third phase, vaccine. You can't mandate it. No, you can't mandate it. No. Read my lips. No. That's my reality I'm creating.
Okay, it's all about time to pull the plug for today.
Well, we could put the stopper and float up.
So if we don't see Waco China, you can always check us out at the webpage for the Universal Life Alliance.
Yeah. And Max put that across the top.
And there's all kinds of stuff on that page.
Yes, there is.
And you can just explore, get to know other people. You can join the Alliance. Joining is a commitment to making world peace.
Yes, it is.
It's honoring the respect of all living things,
Yes, it is.
not just on planet Earth, but all planets. And so join up. The more we all join together, sharing energy, the more it's going to happen.
You can't have community without unity.
Thank you.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Take care, gang.
Arrivederci.